Our first question today is from Jacqueline in Detroit.
I'm struggling with my minimalist journey. I started out, and when I found you guys, it was like a breath of fresh air, and now I seem to be really struggling with putting this into use 100% of the time. Most of this lends to consumerism, so I believe that I'm shopping compulsively, and I don't know how to stop necessarily. You know, the IKEA monologue from Fight Club when they talk about this couch, like, once I get this couch, I'll be fine, or what lamp defines me. That's totally me, and I don't know how to stop it because reading about it or listening to you guys, I'm totally on board philosophically, but then when it comes to putting it into practice, I have these moments of weakness where I just revert back, and I do not know what to do.
So Ryan, tell me what you think about this analogy. I was thinking about this. So Jacqueline's saying, she's talking about shopping compulsively. She can't apply minimalism 100%, and she's struggling to sort of feel complete, as if the next purchase is going to make us feel complete. Mm-hmm. And the analogy, or maybe metaphor here, of dieting. I often think about. There probably is not a perfect diet for anyone, although it's highly individual, right? Mm-hmm. But minimalism isn't sort of the anorexic equivalent of dieting, right? My partner Rebecca, she's a dietitian and a nutritionist, and so she has clients that she works with, and several of whom struggle with anorexia or bulimia, and she's worked with a lot of college students back when she was at the university for a decade, mm-hmm. who struggle with those, and that's not a diet. That is a disorder. The same way that hoarding or OCD can be a disorder. I have OCD, and minimalism has helped me sort of keep that under control in a way, because it's been easier not to. There are two sides of the sort of OCD spectrum. I finished watching that show that you recommended during the added value. Evil Genius.
Oh yeah.
And there are several hoarders in there.
Yeah.
And that's just that's a type of OCD in a way, where it's like compulsively holding on to things, right? And I think about OCD or minimalism they're not the same thing. People often mistake minimalism with having nothing, living as a ascetic. And I don't want Jacqueline to think that I can't apply minimalism 100% of the time, so I can't apply minimalism at all. I don't think it's about stopping shopping, because she said, how do I stop? It's about figuring out what things are appropriate to buy.
Yeah, it sounds
right there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. To me, it sounds like she is using shopping as a pacifier, and I think the way I interpreted the question is how do I stop using shopping as a pacifier to stop those impulses? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. We do not have to stop shopping. It's not about becoming a minimalist and never buying anything again, or becoming a minimalist and buying only used items, or like you said, there isn't there is not this totalitarian set of rules that each minimalist has to abide by.
Just like diet, right? There is not, here's the diet you must follow. There are some that will work better for others, that for certain people than other people.
Right. And especially, say Jacqueline's got a husband and 6 kids. What they buy as a family is going to be much different than what Mariah and I buy as a family.
Sure.
So, just blanketing any type of rules, I don't think is going to really. I don't think that's going to help Jacqueline here. I think what's going to help Jacqueline is her finding better habits to replace shopping with.
Yes.
So shopping it's tempting for me as one of the minimalists living in Los Angeles. When I'm bored, I have totally had, I'm going to go to the Apple store because now it's 3 blocks from my place.
Right.
It's not, it used to be 3 hours from my place.
You had to drive through 2 states to get there.
To get there.
You're like, how do I get to Spokane this week?
And now it's 3 blocks from my place. And you know what? I think the last I lost damn it, I lost my AirPods. So I went to replace them.
I almost lost mine twice in the last 2 weeks.
Dude,
but I found them both times.
I really hope that someone just like picked them up and they're using them. But my fear is that they fell out and like now they're in the cushion of this, like buried in this couch in this Airbnb I was staying at. Anyway, I went to the Apple store. This was a couple months ago, and went in there to buy the AirPods. And dude, like it was so hard for me to like walk out with just the AirPods. But my I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole.
No, that's good. So what did you see there that was like compelling?
Oh, dude, they had really good Bluetooth speakers. They had the iPhone X. They had, or the iPhone 10. They had cases and protectors and Bluetooth gadgets that will hook to your phone and computer. And I mean, it's just like this world of convenience.
New computers
that they offer you at the Apple store.
Yeah, it's funny. I was listening to someone recently. They were talking about how they went to the Apple store and they were shocked because it was Duncan Trussell. He said that he went in there like to replace his computer, and the person at Apple was like, "What are you using it for?" And he's like, "Well, I write on it and I edit a little bit of audio." And they're like, "Well, the computer you have is only 4 years old. It's fine for what you're doing right now. Is there a reason you want to upgrade?" And my mind was blown that this company, who sells more products than any other company on the face of the earth, can say, "Hey, maybe you don't need the new product right now."
Right.
And that's a good thing. Now, it's not the company that said that. It was one individual who said that. I don't know if that's their corporate ethos or something.
Right.
But it made me realize, like, anytime I go to Apple Store, like I had a Apple Care issue a few months ago, and I had to bring something in there, and I immediately looked at like, oh, look at the shiny new MacBook. I mean, I've got my MacBook Pro or whatever the hell it is. My laptops I've had, we bought them at the same time, 2014 maybe. I don't.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was when we took Sean on.
Yeah, so 2013, 2014,
whatever
somewhere
it was,
there.
yeah.
And we all have the same computer basically, but I go in there and I'm like, oh, that one is shinier than mine, and look at the keys on it are slightly different, and it's more aerodynamic. Aerodynamic? Am I going to throw this thing? What am I doing?
It's faster.
Yeah,
meaning it'll go faster through the air.
I can run faster with it. I'm not running anywhere. What am I doing?
Funny, man.
Yeah.
So for me, man, like the way that I avoid, like, I guess acting on that impulse to go shop or to go even a window shop, man, like that's tempting, dude. I mean, there's a plethora of places to shop here in Los Angeles, and window shopping, even that's going to develop the desire even more.
It adds more temptation.
Right, exactly. So for me, like I try to stay as active as possible, whether it's working out, whether it's going on walks, whether it's mountain biking, whether it's surfing, whether it's going to your house to watch a movie.
Yeah.
I try to fill my time with as many, that extra time, I should say. I try to fill my extra time up with as many either active things or communal things where I'm experiencing something with a friend or with the community. But yes, sitting around and doing nothing and being bored, especially watching TV, like that right there is going to make you want to shop more.
Yeah.
So here's what I would recommend for Jacqueline, is if she wants to curb this desire, first and foremost, Jacqueline, get as many advertisements out of your life as possible. So how does Jacqueline do that? Get rid of cable. Get rid of it, or watch only the stuff you record and fast forward through the commercials.
Yeah.
Pay the extra $3, $4, $5, however many dollars it costs to get the ad-free version of whatever it is that you're using to entertain yourself. Pay that extra little bit to cut the advertisements out.
With YouTube. I find YouTube
awesome.
Premium, and it's like $12 a month. And it's the best $12 I spend every month.
Absolutely.
Because there is not a single ad ever, unless someone tries. Now people are doing the sponsored things inside. Like if we were doing ads on this podcast, all of a sudden like our YouTube channel, we could be making lots of money if we had ads turned on our YouTube channel. But it doesn't align with our ethos, so we have those turned off. So even if you watch our videos on the free version, you don't get served up ads,
right?
Unless YouTube does something without our permission. So
right. But Jacqueline, think about all the ways that you take in advertisements. Use an ad. If you're not using an ad blocker, for anyone out there, if you're not using an ad blocker, it's free.
Yes.
Just Google free ad blocker and pick the first one that comes up. That's what I did. In fact, Sean, in the show, I don't know what the name of my ad blocker is, but I'll figure it out before the end of the show. And Sean, if you could put that into the show notes, put an ad blocker under your computer. But Jacqueline, all the advertisements that you see, they are affecting you. They are seeding in your conscience. They are making you want to buy things. They are they're adding to this impulse that you already have. They're playing to that impulse.
Agreed.
So the first step is get rid of as many advertisements as possible.
Yeah, and the thing you talked about with replacing, I really like that, Ryan. So it's not about stopping, because then it's going to be hard. If like you just stop shopping and now I'll stand here stoically and do nothing. Well, that's not reasonable, because now you're just going to ruminate about the things you're not purchasing. So I think it's about replacing. And so some questions to ask there is, what can I replace this with?
Right.
Because shopping is an activity. So what are the activities? It might be dodgeball. It might be hiking. It might be going to the aquarium with your kids. I don't know what your life looks like, but what do you want it to look like? And then
absolutely, maybe it's meditating.
Exactly. So,
that meditation alone will help with those impulses.
Yes, although meditating alone, if you're just doing that, you'll probably ruminate at first. And so I find activities that help you stay focused and then peppering in the meditation will be really helpful. And so meditation is definitely a more meaningful experience than shopping. We both agree with that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe the question to ask then, if you're getting ready to go shopping, is what is a more meaningful experience than this? And if you ask yourself that question, that's a better question. You're going to start getting better answers.
Yeah, Sean, also please put in the show notes the links to the meditations that we did for the 10% Happier app.
Yeah, the 10% Happier app, and then if you are a Patreon supporter, we have a meditation on there. We have one meditation on our Patreon page. We'll probably do some more in the future as well.
But yeah, they're just like 2, 3. What's the longest one we did? 5 minutes, maybe?
9 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, that is just a meditation on not consuming things.
Anti-consumerism meditation.
So that's another thing Jacqueline can do, is find something to change your state when you get that impulse. Yeah. So maybe you want to go buy the latest, greatest, stylish lamp, and you get that impulse. Stop yourself, listen to a 3-minute meditation, whether it's Josh and I's meditation or someone else's. It doesn't matter. Change your state somehow. Stop for 3 minutes to reconsider. Yeah. And if you still feel and go buy the lamp afterwards, okay, great. Change your approach next time. But you got to find some way to interrupt that impulse that you get.
I like that. Podcast Sean, if we could get that other meditation we recorded for Dan and put it on our Patreon feed, that way we'll have 2 meditations up there, both meditations that we did. So you can find those on his 10% Happier app as well. And then if you're a Patreon supporter, you can find them on our Patreon page. You just click on, there's different tags. You just click the meditation tag. We'll put it on there shortly after this episode goes up. So within a week of this episode going up, we'll put the other one, the other anti-consumerism meditation up there for you. And a couple other things I recommend, Ryan, here, just recommend thinking about, really, is that you'll never be complete. Right, that couch that you buy will not make you more complete. It will not make you a better human being. Ideally, though, if we buy the right things for our life, they will enhance, they'll amplify, they'll augment our experience of life.
Sure.
You came over to my house. We had movie night this past weekend. Me, you, and Bex and Mariah, and we sat on a couch. And so we didn't sit on just hardwood floors or so that couch augmented our experience for the evening. We drank water out of glasses instead of putting our head under the faucet, right?
Maybe you guys did. Hypocrite.
We ate dinner off of plates.
Yes, hypocrite.
Instead of just pouring the food onto the table.
No, of course. We need some stuff, man.
And those things augmented our experience. However, let's say I bought more plates and I had 7 sets of plates at my house. that wouldn't have improved our evening at all. In fact, it probably would have just gotten in the way, because then all of a sudden I'm thinking about which plate should we use this evening. Should I break out the fine china tonight? I like this idea. Rob and Kristen Bell, they always use the fine china. Like, they got some really nice china for their wedding gift or some anniversary thing or whatever. So even our regular, just normal breakfast meals, they'll break out the really, because they're like, use the nice things as opposed to just storing them long term.
Yeah.
Use the things that you have. If you're using them, if they serve a purpose or bring you joy, then great. Also, the author Christina Cook, she talks about, we'll put a link to her website. She also has a book called The Joy of Missing Out. It's sort of the opposite of the fear of missing out. It's the joy.
It's JOMO.
Yeah, it's JOMO. And if you can't get
instead of FOMO.
Well, that's instead of FOMO, it's just, so we all have the fear of missing out, because it's like, how can I be more complete? If I just buy this thing, I'll be more complete. And if not, I'm missing out. I need to check the tweet, I need to check this. And it's the reason I don't have social media on my phone, is because I always feel like I'm going to be like, oh, I gotta check the next thing. What did people say to my Instagram post? And like, I just get caught up in the missing out. And so maybe there's a joy of missing out that Christina Crook talks about, but I think there's a step in between, what I would call WOMO.
Okay.
The welcoming of missing out. So maybe you don't get the joy yet, but you just bask in the fact that, yes, you pause and you let out the breath.
I am missing out.
I am missing out.
It's all right.
Yeah, I'm going to welcome this. It's okay.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, even if you get that couch and you get all the knickknacks that's going to make your life perfect, it's not going to be perfect.
No, you're still missing out on 99.999% of everything else that's out there.
And letting go is really hard, right? So we went through the whole thing of what have you let go of recently. That's a hard exercise, and it gets easier the more you let go. But how about this? Not buying something is your future self letting go in advance.
Yeah, or you're letting go of that impulse.
Yeah. You can tweet that, Sean. That's a minimal maxim for you. Not buying something is your future self letting go in advance. So it's like saving money now, so you don't have, the interest compounds. This is sort of like reverse interest in a way. You don't have to let go of the thing you don't buy.
Yeah.
And so think about it that way, is, do I really want to have to deal with this later? Do I want to deal with the packaging and the charging of the thing? And do I want to have to deal with, once this thing is not serving its purpose, or maybe it's never actually going to serve its purpose, I just got really excited. It was an aspirational purchase.
Yeah.
Like you're at the Apple store and you're like, oh, but I could use the Bluetooth thing and the cable, and maybe that case will do this. And then you're like, but when I really think about it, oh, that's what someone else would get from it. Might not be what I would actually get from it.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing that Jacqueline said that stands out to me, she said, she's bought in, with the philosophy of minimalism, but having a hard time acting on it. I started thinking about, like, I used to be bought into the idea of exercise. I used to be bought into the idea of healthy eating. Yeah. And you can be bought into an idea. If you do not take action, then it is just an idea. And I think Jacqueline should look at this as diet or exercise. Like, what can you do to start taking massive action towards living a more simple life? And we're going to talk about here in a little bit, kind of some stuff that we consider before we buy things. And Jacqueline, you can use, the things that we consider, or you can make up your own structure. But I know when it comes to diet, I have to have a structure to my diet. Yeah. It's a very simple structure. Yeah. With exercise, I have to have structure with that. Like Mariah and I, we get to the gym, or we try to work out. Not even try, we do. We work out at least 5 days a week. Hands down, at least for 45 minutes, 5 days a week. This week it'll be 7 days this week. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And like that structure is what will help us to continue to live a healthy lifestyle and continue to be in that exercise routine. And I'll tell you, as soon as like we go on tour, dude, I'm not going to be able to work out 7 days a week. And when I come back, it's going to be harder for me to get back into that structure.
I think you will be able to, though. I think since you've set up this structure and you feel really good about it, it may not be the same workout.
Right.
But you can hit the elliptical for 45 minutes as soon as we get to the Hampton Inn or wherever we're staying.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying, though, is that sometimes the structure will fall apart a little bit.
Yeah.
And Mariah and I, we have to really, really rely on those boundaries we set up for ourselves. If we don't, then we will quickly just be on the outside looking at the idea of exercise instead of actually exercising.
Absolutely.